Welcome back to Mudwalkers. My name is Chris. As I've said in previous videos, I periodically scour the internet for new material. I don't mean new material for the channel per se, although that's clearly part of it. It's what I do. But it's also that I want to stay abreast of what Christians are saying and writing about modesty, about naturism. I want to, stay up to date. So every now and then I look around to see what's up. And I found a really interesting article this week that I thought you would like to take a look at with me. Before you watch the video, though, I'd like you to click the link in the description down below and read the entire article for yourself. As you do, I want you to ask yourself a very important question. Was this article written by AI? Because it kind of sounds like it was to me. Now, that doesn't make the article right or wrong, it just makes it funny and interesting. As a matter of fact, the article is pretty reasonable. Now, let's take a couple looks at a few excerpts from the article as a look at, the general gist of the article. Obviously, we're not going to read the entire thing. That would make the video very long. So we're just going to look at a couple points, but I know you've already clicked the link down below and read the article for yourself, so here we go. What does the Bible say about nudity? The Bible does not directly address the issue of nudism or provide explicit instructions on appropriate clothing. However, it does emphasize modesty both in behavior and attire. The concept of modesty encourages individuals to dress in a way that does not draw unnecessary attention and respects the sensibilities of others. Does the Bible condemn nudity outright? The Bible does not explicitly condemn nudity as a whole. However, it does address the importance of modesty, encouraging believers to dress and behave in ways that promote humility, self-control, and respect for others. These first sections are actually super encouraging because they actually reflect the facts of the matter instead of, making broad assertions or making eisegetical claims. This is actually a really good place to start. The Bible never explicitly condemns social nudity as a whole, as a thing. Couldn't agree more. Before we talk about the next one, though, let's talk about Patreon. This episode of Mudwalkers is indeed brought to you by Patreon. These guys are my patrons. They're making the channel happen, hello birdie, and keeping my work sustainable. So there are many tiers on Mudwalkers. I'm not going to get into the tiers today because I'm sure you're tired of hearing it. Suffice to say, if you click the Patreon link in the description down below, you'll get access to the tiers and their benefits and blah, blah, blah. You can read that for yourself. The thing I'm most excited about, though, is if you sign up at the Mudwalkers level, you get access to our monthly Zoom hangout, where we get to share stories and swap ideas and just in general have fun. I've met amazing people through the Zoom hangouts and I can't wait to meet more. It's just a great time. If you haven't signed up for Patreon, please consider it. Every little bit counts. But also, if you have seen my recent videos, you'll know that I have a website now, nakedmeanshuman.com. There's a whole video about the name of the website here, so I won't go into it terribly much. But the website is a cool place to go. Sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's cool. Now back to the video. Let's look at section number 3. Were Adam and Eve naked in the Garden of Eden? In the Garden of Eden, prior to the fall of humanity, Adam and Eve were indeed naked and unashamed. However, after their disobedience, they felt shame and covered themselves with fig leaves. This event signifies the introduction of sin and the subsequent need for modesty and covering. This section is less encouraging, not because it makes naturism look bad, but because it's so unbiblical. Yes, Genesis 2:25 does say Adam and Hava, Adam and Eve, were naked in the Garden of Eden, but they weren't in a state of dishonor. They were naked and unashamed, and not in a state of dishonor, in other words. That much is true. But the concept of modesty as we know it, that clothing is some kind of remedy for sexual lust or promiscuity, doesn't appear in the text. It's unclear where the need for modesty would come from in this passage. In addition to that, it mentions shame. At no point in the passage or any other passage in Scripture does it say that Adam and Eve felt shame. So again, it's unclear where that concept comes from in the text because it's not stated in the passage. For a longer discussion on Adam and Hava's shame or not shame or whatever, check out this video up here as I stare into the sun. So did Adam and Eve feel shame? I mean, yeah, maybe, probably, possibly, potentially, hypothetically, theoretically, speculatively, ecumenically. But It's not stated in the text, so we can't really be sure. I think it is probable. I think they probably felt shame because of their actions, the way that we think of shame. Now, that's not the same thing as Eastern shame. That's a whole other video unto itself, coming hopefully very soon. So, did they feel shame? I don't know. I don't care. Who knows? Who cares? Because if it was important for our understanding of the passage, it would be in the passage. It's not written in there, so either it didn't happen, or it's not important. Moving on. How should Christians respond to nudist individuals or communities? Christians should approach nudist individuals or communities with love, respect, and a desire for dialogue rather than judgment. Understanding their motivations and experiences can foster empathy and contribute to meaningful discussions about faith, modesty, and cultural differences. This, I think, is the single most important paragraph in the entire article. Because this is what's so often sorely lacking in conversations about the Bible and naturism. Starting from a place of mutual respect, moving toward a shared goal of mutual understanding. We need more love and compassion on this issue and less judgment, especially when the Bible doesn't really address the issue in question. Keu no do'ai.